Hey guys, it's Christina. Welcome back to my channel and another YouTube video. I'm so happy to have you here. So today I thought I'd make a little bit of a different video than I usually make. I'll be doing a meal prepping video. I don't usually make videos like this because I don't usually cook like this, but actually as of lately I have been very into meal prepping. So I thought I'd take you guys along for how I found a way to do it that works for me. Meals are going to be, there's going to be about like 3 or 4 meals I'm making, and they're all going to be focused on a little bit of a higher protein content than I usually do as well. So if you're interested in that, definitely stick around. But yeah, let's get right into it. The first thing we are making is chili, a 3-bean chili specifically, and it's going to go on that cast iron, and it's going to be topped with cornbread and go in the oven, and it's going to be, so let's get to it. So I added the onions and jalapeno to a pan, and it was like all aesthetic how I added it, and I didn't hit record, but yeah, the onions and the jalapeno are behind me right now, sizzling away. And I'm gonna chop some garlic while they're sizzling. I go back and forth when I cook, like whether I want to like have everything completely done or if I want to like kind of cook as I go. And I'd say this chili I mostly prepped everything in advance. Like I have my beans all drained and ready to go back there, and I have all my like cans of tomato product open, but it didn't make sense to do the garlic if I had to wait for the onion and jalapeno to cook first, so I decided I would just chop that while that's cooking. And then the other thing that I still have to do is make the cornbread that's gonna go on top of the chili, but that's because the chili has to kind of like simmer and, you know, become chili for like a minimum of 15 minutes before we can put the cornbread on it. So it made sense to also do the cornbread first. I also usually like to measure out my spices ahead of time and like put them in a little ramekin and then add them all together. That way you just like avoid the chance that they're gonna burn. But this recipe in particular that I'm following, I know I usually like double the spices and kind of like taste as I go. So I decided, and it's also only chili powder, cumin, and oregano. So I decided I was just gonna kind of, you know, throw it all in there. It's going into the product after everything is in there, so they can't really burn either. I have the hardest time peeling garlic sometimes. If I'm rich, you'll know, because I'll buy those pre-peeled garlic. I hate it. I don't really have the energy today to be doing any type of like fine cooking, so some poor planning on my part, because I'm making this chili and then I'm gonna make a chia seed pudding after this, and I just don't have the energy. So everything is gonna be very roughly chopped and it's gonna be fine. Rustic is a word I've been using around lately when I mean lazy, which I gotta be, like, I do it mostly for myself. Like when I'm cooking, I'll say something's rustic if I'm feeling lazy and don't want to chop it very well. But I've noticed I've started saying it with other things, and I gotta make sure I cool it so I don't offend people. You know, like the way, like, if someone thinks your house is, like, small, like, they'll say, oh, it's cozy. Where, like, if, someone's, like, weird, they'll say eccentric. That's me. If I think something's done lazily, I'll say it's rustic. I'm gonna let that do its thing, and then I'm gonna add in some tomato paste. Usually I salt as I go, but there's already gonna be quite a bit of salt from the beans, and I'm gonna do some like better than bouillon, so I'm not gonna salt as I go here. But if you want to, feel free. Alright, and then there's beans, baby. Oh god, that was playing with fire there. After my tomatoes and beans, my beans, by the way, were kidney pinto and black beans. I added chili powder and cumin. I was also supposed to add oregano, but I forgot. And then I also added this better than bouillon adobo seasoning. This is to replace chilies in adobo because they didn't have chilies in adobo at my supermarket. I also added about a cup of water. I let the chili simmer for 15 minutes, and then I added cornbread batter on top and let that cook in the oven until the cornbread was cooked through. How much cornbread batter you add is really up to you and dependent on what type of cornbread batter you use. For me, I would say this was about half of a box of the Trader Joe's cornbread that I prepared using almond milk and a flax egg. On the same day after I prepped my cornbread chili, I then prepped a really quick chocolate chia seed pudding. For my chocolate element, I used half a cup of chocolate protein powder. But if you don't want to use protein powder, you could definitely just use cocoa powder. It's still really tasty and nutritious either way. I then added half a cup of chia seeds. I freaking love chia seeds. I add this stuff on everything, which is kind of weird because I actually don't love chia seed pudding, but you know, we were doing a thing. This is like a thing people make, so I wanted to try it out. I then added 2 cups of almond milk. I think I eventually then added a little bit more almond milk. It's really going to depend on your protein powder or your cocoa powder or like whatever else you're putting in the chia seed pudding, how much you want to add. I then just mixed it until it was smooth, and I also had to kind of like mash out any chia seed protein powder clumps. If I could do it again differently, I would sift my protein powder, or I would also recommend you sift cocoa powder. If you use it, that would definitely make it less clumpy. So you'll usually see chia seed pudding as a breakfast meal prep. So people will make a big batch of chia seed pudding. I think I'm just going to start saying pudding. If I'm saying pudding, no, I'm talking about the chia seed pudding because that is a tongue twister. But yeah, you'll see people make a big batch of the pudding and then they'll split it into like 4 servings, and that'll be like 4 breakfasts throughout the week. That's not what I did. What I did is that big batch of pudding you saw me make, which I'll write down the measurements that I used below. It's also, like, I just said what I did in the video, but for people who don't want to go back and rewind and pause, it'll also be down below. But I split that into about 5 servings, and so like almost like snack size portions, and then I would eat each serving after lunch, and my lunch would be the cornbread chili. And I split the cornbread chili into about 6 portions, which is kind of on the smaller side. Usually in the past, that would be more like 4 servings, I'd say. But this worked out pretty well because splitting it into the 6 portions was about 400 calories for 13 grams of protein, but then followed with the chia seed pudding would add 228 calories for 14 grams of protein. So that's 28 grams of protein for about 630 calories, which fits my needs rather well currently, but that might not fit your needs. But I figured I would just throw in that information that the meal prep can really be designed however you want to fit your caloric and protein and just daily hunger needs. Don't feel trapped into a box by, oh, this is supposed to make 4 servings or 5 servings, or it can be whatever you want as long as you are full, meeting your nutritional needs and all that jazz. Yeah, then you're good to go. So get a little creative with it. That's really helped me. So then a few days later, I made this roasted tofu and bell pepper bowl. I'll get more into that later, but first I want to emphasize this is not the same day that I made the chili or the chia seed pudding. This is a few days later. So what I've found is really helpful and sustainable in this meal prepping experience for me is to kind of upfront my meal prepping to the weekend and the beginning of the week. So I'll make a large meal on Sunday, something like a chili or a stew or a big batch of soup, curry, something like that makes about like 6 servings. So then I'll have that for dinner Sunday night and then a bunch of meals throughout the week. And then I'll take about an hour out of my day on either Monday or Tuesday and I'll meal prep another meal that makes 3 to 4 servings. So at this point, I have enough meals that can last me to Wednesday or Thursday, and I don't even have to think about cooking until it's basically middle or the end of the week. And so when we get to this point, I like to make something very easy like this tofu bowl. All it is cubing up about 2 blocks of tofu. I don't know why I said about, it's exactly 2 blocks of tofu. 2 blocks of extra firm tofu, coating it with some awesome seasonings, adobo, chili powder, oregano, cumin, paprika, things of that nature. Or honestly, you could do whatever you liked, but that was definitely what I was feeling that day. Oh, garlic powder, of course, and salt and pepper as well. But basically, yeah, seasoning the tofu, then coating it with nutritional yeast, and this is a game changer for me, chickpea flour. I actually learned this from another YouTuber, Chanty Marie or Shanti Marie. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but shout out to her because this is awesome. You coat the tofu in this chickpea flour and nutritional yeast combination, and then you can just put it in the oven as is and just let that roast. And it's awesome because you can fit 2 blocks of tofu or even like 4 blocks of tofu if you use 2 sheet pans, and they can all just cook in the oven and it gets just as crispy as it would in an air fryer. But my air fryer can't fit that many blocks of tofu. It can barely fit 1. So I really, really like this method for meal prepping. And since you already have your oven on and plenty of room, it just makes sense to pair it with some roasted vegetables. So in this case, I did these little sweet peppers. These char up so nicely when you put them in the oven, especially with like, again, those kind of warming seasonings. It just was a really, really nice pairing with the tofu. And I would say this maybe had to cook for, the tofu does have to cook for a while, like probably like 40 minutes. My oven's not calibrated very well, and I definitely think even when it's like at 450, it's not really 450, it's like 375. So for me, it's a while, but I think anyone with a working oven, it would be less. But yeah, serve it over some greens, and it makes 4 servings, and it's absolutely delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it had a lot of technical information about like numbers and planning and stuff like that, but I wanted to be all encompassing of everything I do that has really been working for me meal prep wise as of late, because it's something in the past that I really like never found a way to make it work for me, and I have kind of been using this method for a few weeks now, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm still getting a variety of dishes. I don't think I'm spending any more time cooking than I previously was. A lot less stress planning. I'm able to hang out with my friends and my boyfriend and go to the gym more and all those things, which has been really, really nice and a nice change of pace. Because sometimes, like, as much as I love cooking and as much as I think it's a great way to treat yourself and your loved ones, you know, sometimes the best way to treat yourself and your loved ones is to have a pre-made meal so then you could go spend time with them and yourself. So I love this lately. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts below. I know this is a different kind of video than usual. Please also let me know if anything else needs to be explained. I probably could have done better or like made like a better, like maybe like a schematic or anything like that to like show how I planned it out. So if you need that explained like verbally, let me know. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.